But when Jude made a quotation from Enoch, he didn't say scripture. Why? Because that information was not from scripture. It was not from an inspired book. Paul also made quotations from other books that were not scripture, and he never said they were scripture. On 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 33, evil communication corrupts good manners. That was a quotation from a pagan book, from a book that was not in the Bible. That is why Paul never said it was scripture. That was written by a Greek poet that was called Menander. He took it from that. But if Paul made a quotation from Menander, the poet, does that mean that we have to endorse Menander, the poet, as scripture? The same way Jude made a quotation from Enoch, and then we are saying the book of Enoch is scripture. No, they are just quoting books, not to say they are endorsing those books as scripture, but because of their audience. Remember, Paul was writing to the Corinthians. These people, they understood Greek poets. So Paul only took a truth from their Greek poets. I become all things to all men. So this is what Paul would do. He just made a quotation from a Greek poet they believed in so much, just so that he can win their hearts. That was what Jude was doing. He also made a quotation from the book of Enoch. His audience, these were people who believed so much in things that are mythological. These were people who were speaking of angels, of dignitaries. So he is taking a quotation from a book that they might believe in. But Jude selects, he makes sure that he doesn't take the other things that are heretic. That is what Paul did. He didn't take everything from Menander's poet. Christians are always liars. And Paul said that testimony is true. So Paul was quoting from Epimenides. It doesn't mean that we have to endorse the book of Epimenides to say, okay, so Epimenides should be in the Bible. No, he's trying to use things that they believe in just so that he can win their hearts. On Acts chapter 17, verse 28, Paul says, in him we live and move and have our being. That was not a scripture. And Paul never said it's scripture. Some people say he was quoting from Epimenides, and some people say he was quoting from Aratus. That was not from the scriptures. But it doesn't mean that he's endorsing the entire book of Aratus, the things that he can use to win these people's hearts, to show them that, look, I also believe in what you believe in. I also believe in some of your poets, just so that he can win their hearts. That is what Jude was doing.